Hello, guys, and welcome back to the JGI Podcast. Now, after what feels like an eternity, the summer transfer window is now over. So, here talking with me today about Manchester United signings is MufcWesleyy. Wes, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate, for asking. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good as well, thanks. Cheers for coming on. For those that don't know,
My pleasure.
Wes is a big United voice. He's got two big platforms talking about United on Twitter and also Instagram. So I'll leave a link to those in the description. He's what is it? You got over 200k on Instagram. You're one of the biggest United followers, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like you said, it's a massive platform. I'm just a fan like anyone else. I do use it to my advantage sometimes with raising awareness to specific things and having discussions with the fans and but it's last time I checked, I think it was like the fourth biggest on Instagram, which is absolutely
crazy,
insane. So it's overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
I still can't quite believe it, but
Yeah.
It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, no, good work with it. It's called United Captured, so I'll leave a link to it in the description, obviously. Obviously, for today's show, I thought the main focus, we can talk about the signings that United have made. Have a specific focus on the deadline day signings. I think Van der Beek will probably come up naturally, but we've covered him in the last two videos. So thought if we just look at the signings we've made and see where we can go from here moving forward in your predictions now for the season. Now we know who we've got coming through the door. So I think the first obvious name to start with, definitely the biggest name we acquired, was obviously Edinson Cavani. Quite a surprise signing, kind of came out of the blue. I just wanted to get your thoughts on him as a signing, because the general consensus online seems to be that he's coming in this backup role, can rotate with Martial, and the youngsters can learn a lot from him. What do you think to him as a signing? And also moving forward, do you think he can break into the starting 11, or are you just expecting him to have that pragmatic role and just come in when we need him to?
Well, I mean, I've been monitoring the free agents list for the last few months, and Ed has been on there for quite some time. But I think anyone who thinks that Edinson Cavani is going to be content with just coming as a squad player is completely way off the mark, because I know for a fact that Edinson Cavani is going to be thinking, I want to start for Manchester United, and it's natural. Every player who does join Manchester United, they all want to play. He's a fantastic player. His goals to games ratio speaks for itself. Paris Saint-Germain's all-time top goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely unbelievable. In a way, he sort of reminds me of Van Nistelrooy in the box. He's comes alive in the 18-yard box, and I think that is something that we have missed tremendously in the last few years. Is someone who can just in a split second turn nothing into something in that 18-yard box. But yeah, I mean, he's 33 years old now. We saw him running on the treadmill earlier. He looks in absolutely incredible shape, and there's not an ounce of fat on him. No. I think he's going to slot straight in. Hopefully he'll make his debut against Paris Saint-Germain. I don't think he'll start that game, but in that game itself, I think that he'll be a massive attribute to us.
Yeah.
And the youngsters as well. He's done everything in the game. He's played at Napoli, he's won trophies, Serie A, he's won at PSG. I think he won 6 league titles with them.
Yeah.
About 13 or 14 in trophies all in all, and he's just all about goals. And he's a very, very experienced forward, and I think that he's going to be very, very important to us this season, given the competitions that we're in, and given the quality and experience that he can bring. To be honest with you, I'm pleased that we managed to get that one over the.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think most people are pleased to see a new striker come through the door, because obviously a lot of expectation gets put on Martial's shoulders, obviously with Greenwood and Rashford pretty much cementing their spots down the channels. And I think obviously after watching the Luton game, Igalo looks to have seriously declined over this summer. And as much as we all like him as being a fan favourite, I think obviously bringing in a number 2 who had that bit more quality was needed. And I think, as you say, with Cavani, the experience he brings, that's just invaluable to have, especially when you've got Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, who've only been playing for a year. Obviously Greenwood's first season last year. Martial and Rashford aren't experienced. So I think having that figure there is only going to help them, especially in training, watching him. They can learn a lot of him. I just think the only negative trait that came with it, obviously, because he is 33 years old and he was signed on deadline day, it did feel a little bit desperate from United board. I think if he was our priority coming into the summer, it could have been done earlier. So I think there's a bit of stick there that, was he really our first choice, or did we just sign him because we couldn't sign Sancho? But end of the day, that's not his fault, is it? Solskjaer can only go off.
No. I think a lot of it had had to do with the Champions League group that we were given.
Yeah.
I think because of the squad depth for Champions League games specifically, I know that we did leave it late and it did have a aura of panic about it. But I think that Edinson, the signing is purely going to be based on a European basis rather than league basis. But he's definitely going to feature in both. And I think that people who haven't sort of come around to it yet will eventually come around.
Yeah, no, I agree. So obviously he's going to bolster our attacking options. Now, obviously we can't speak about the transfer window without addressing the person who didn't come through the door. Obviously Sancho was the club's number one priority. He was meant to come in and fill in that right wing spot and relieve some pressure off Mason Greenwood. And given the talent that he is, obviously it's disappointing that he didn't come. Did you expect him to come, or were you one of those ones that weren't too optimistic about it? Or how did you feel about the deal? Did you not expect him to come through the door?
Yeah, I put it out publicly that I fully expected Jadon to become a Manchester United player.
Yeah. You weren't the only one.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? We know that the player wanted to come to Manchester United.
Yeah.
You know, it was confirmed by some very, very, top quality journalists as well who were following the Jadon Sancho saga right from the start to the finish. Yeah. I don't think it's over. I do think that Jadon could well possibly be at Manchester United in the next summer transfer window. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're going to face some fierce competition to get his signature. I do think that he should still be a priority, not the priority, because I believe there are for me, two positions that are priorities in our squad at the moment. Mm-hmm. He's one of them. Maybe we'll probably discuss the other one later down the line. But, I was disappointed. I thought, we really were going to get him. He's a fantastic player. He's one of the players that have developed tremendously over the last few years. He's still very young. He's 19. He's got a lot of years ahead of him.
Yeah.
A player that's only going to get better. But yeah, I was disappointed. I did think he was going to join, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. And we don't know who's to blame in that sense. Because we don't know the full story.
I think the board are to blame on that one, just because obviously it was widely reported that the player was keen to join, and it was just, as we learned again the other day, it was a case of us not paying the money, because Fabrizio Romano obviously said had we paid the 120 million on deadline day, then apparently it would have been accepted. So it just comes down to us not wanting to pay the money, which obviously is a huge disappointment, because similar to what we say about Cavani, I think the transfer windows at times can just be a narrative for a club. We don't want to be frantically searching about on deadline day trying to get these deals over the line. Instead, at the start of the summer, if Sancho was made the priority, the decision should have been made, and for me, in the first 2 to 3 weeks, that we either pay the money or not, we just move on to alternatives.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a player that we all wanted as fans because of his talent, but we're all understanding at times, as us as fans, if the board come out and say they're asking for too much money, we don't want to go there, but we just get an alternative through. Had that been done swiftly, I think it wouldn't have been made into such a big fiasco as what it was. Instead, it was dragged out, as we say, until deadline day, and we ended up signing 2 youngsters who we'll talk about. But yeah, for me, I just found it wholly disappointing.
Yeah, I think that's what comes with the territory at the moment with the people that are in their current roles at the club. To be honest with you, it happens year after year after year after year. I don't expect anything different at the moment for as long as those particular people are still in that role. What I will say about the Jadon Sancho saga is I think that it's a little unfair on the signings that we have made.
Yeah,
saga seems to have drained the energy and the excitement. The new players that are coming in. And, we've signed some great players. Donny van der Beek was on the verge of joining Real Madrid, and we had him 34.7 million. In today's market, he didn't go to Real Madrid, he come to Manchester United. That for me, fantastic signing, and is very important to the overall picture of our team. But I think because it's dragged on and it's went right to the end, and the disappointment of not getting Sancho has made an effect on disappointment towards other signings.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people would probably think differently about our transfer window.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I'm quite content with it. I think some good signings.
No, I agree. You look at the names that have come through, and we have addressed some areas in the squad that needed strengthening. It just feels like not landing your number one target just casts a big overshadow over everything. And as I say, because the decision wasn't made earlier to sign an alternative. I think we all were, even if we weren't optimistic, I think every fan was secretly hoping that we would come through with it.
Absolutely.
If not, I think the narrative was formed that either we get Sancho or we failed, because as we say, he's our number one target, and as much as he would have delivered on the pitch, I also think it speaks volumes for off the pitch as well, that kind of signing, that kind of statement name coming through. But obviously we didn't get him. Maybe we'll get him next year. We'll have to revisit that when it comes round to it. Obviously we did sign two other right wingers in Diallo and I was trying to pronounce his name before, Pelisic. So obviously they've come through. I obviously don't expect you to be an expert on either of them, because obviously they are 18-year-olds and their experience at senior level is limited. What did you do? Are you happy for us to see them kind of signings come in?
So, I'm not going to be one of these people that are going to come on and pretend I know the ins and outs of these players. I've even said, on my Twitter profile, I said, listen, I've not really seen a lot of these guys. What the general consensus is that I've heard more about Amad Diallo more than obviously Facundo Pellistri. My understanding that Pellistri was a recommendation from Diego Forlan. I think. So, I'm excited to give these boys a chance. Diallo was very, very highly spoken of in Italy. Fabrizio Romano actually tweeted and said, this lad is the best young kid in Italy at this moment in time. And, 30 million for a kid is a big transfer fee at that age. However, sometimes if you've got to pay the price to get these players, and at that age, it is a gamble. But from what I've heard, that lad, Amad Diallo, is going to be a very, very special player. And I'm actually quite excited to see him in the team. And I'm pleased he's included Pellistri in the Champions League squad as well. So hopefully we can see him play.
Well, it sounds like Pellistri is going to go straight into the first team squad straight from the off. I don't think there's going to be any. I mean, ideally, you'd maybe want him to go with the under-23s for a couple of months, but it sounds like he's going to get thrown in. But similar to you, obviously, it's great to see young players coming through. That's what Solskjaer wants to rebuild the squad with. And obviously, we're always going to get behind young lads coming in, especially when they're as talented as what these two sound like they are. I just do not want to put too much expectation on them. Obviously, we spoke about Sancho not coming in, Pellistri coming in. He's going to try make a mark on that down the right wing, but look, he's as we say, he's 18 years old. His only experience is playing in Uruguay, so it's important for us to get that balance between wanting them to do well, but also not putting too much expectation on the shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, them two coming in, I think, will hopefully bolster the squad. Diallo's coming in January. But obviously, the other name we haven't mentioned, someone who I think is going to come in and hopefully get straight into the starting spot, is Alex Tellez. Are you happy with him coming through the door? And for you, what's your thoughts on Luke Shaw as well? Because I've seen a lot of fans, I think he has lost quite a bit of trust from fans over the past few months with his performances. So are you expecting Tellez to come in and just get straight into that starting left-back spot?
Yeah, I think it has to happen. The manager needs to make a statement. Luke Shaw, the last few games, and I'm not just going to blame him and talk about Luke Shaw, because as you watched the game yourself, the performances have not been good enough, and nowhere near good enough in a Manchester United shirt. I don't know what's going on with Luke Shaw at the moment, because it's so before when we were playing in the Europa League, the latter stages, we were all screaming that Luke Shaw needs to start, he needs to play, he fits the system, and this, that, and the other. And now 3 games down the line, we're saying that Luke Shaw needs to be taken out of the side because he's performing up to standards. So I don't know if there's a mental problem there, or whether he's carrying an injury, or whether there's a coaching issue. We don't know, because obviously we don't see the boys in training every day. But when you sign a player like Alex Tellez, a player of that quality, which, you look at his statistics for a left back, goals. I think that's really what we've lacked in our team for the last few years as well, is an attacking fullback who can score goals and assist. Yeah. So, I think definitely Tellez has to come in against Newcastle. That's my opinion, hands down at the moment. Luke Shaw does need to be taken out. And I'm very excited to see Alex play for us. I think he'll bring lots of experience, having been multiple league winner with Porto. He's now Brazil international as well. After getting his first cap, he's away with the team, and he's only going to get better as time goes on. Play to players, and but I'm really, really excited to see Alex play for us.
Yeah, No, I think
at that price as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a low risk signing, and as you say, it's an exciting one. I think we're all looking forward to seeing someone come in and rejuvenate that left hand side, somebody who's willing to get forward and show intent, getting on the ball and driving forward. And I think for the left back spot, there's a few spots in this team where actually, if you're a new player coming in, it's not actually too difficult to come in and make your mark on the side. These players have been underperforming since the start of the season. We're not easily going to forget the form, how we finished last season, because there were some terrific performances. Shaw was one of them. But you're looking at us now, and it feels like, having not had the players in early, new signings coming in, just feel like the whole dressing room's kind of like had a bit of a slump, and we just need picking up signings like this coming in. We'll hopefully do that. I think Tellez is definitely going to be one of them, and for sure, I think having some direct competition will hopefully elevate his performances as well. So obviously they were the 4 players coming in. I think we're all expecting them to make a mark. So obviously, were you expecting any more then this summer? Would you have liked to have seen a centre-back coming in? Because I think that's the other main issue that wasn't addressed. So was there any names that you wanted to see coming in? Were you disappointed by anyone not?
Yeah, I mean, I did want to see a centre-back come in. I think the right centre-back is available. But obviously, for whatever reason, he's still with this club. I think people can take a guess who I'm talking about. They are Epimecano. He's absolutely different class. I think, at the moment, we can't really be too reliant on Eric Bailly. We can't seem to get a full season out of him, which is very disappointing. And he didn't play particularly well in the last game, but I think mainly down to not having many games under his belt. But yeah, I mean, I would have really liked to bring in another centre back after Chris Smalling's departure, but again, it was prolonged. Chris left on deadline day. It wasn't enough time to get a replacement. But as I said, I think a centre back should have come in way before anyone had left the club.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to what I said about Jadon Sancho at right wing earlier, centre back would definitely be my other priority. I do think we are screaming out for a dominant world-class centre-back.
Yeah.
Have a world-class centre-back at the club at the moment. And not down talking, Harry Maguire, because I made it public to everyone. I am a Harry Maguire fan. I'll stick by him. The performance last game was not acceptable, and he's not going to purposely play like that. I think that he knows that he had a bad day.
Yeah.
Lindelof, I think, is probably a squad player at most, in my own opinion.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire needs someone like Dale Upamecano alongside him.
I'm going to say, when you talk about a new centre-back coming in for you, is it somebody to come in to partner Maguire? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, 100%. I think that he does have some sort of agenda against him, Harry Maguire. He didn't do himself any favours with, obviously, the incident in Greece this summer.
No.
But things happen. These players haven't had a pre-season. They haven't had many games. It is going to take time to get to that certain level.
Yeah.
I think the longer the season goes on, the better we will get. It can't get any worse than the last game.
No, he can't.
It's the only way is up from there. And I think that the players, their mindset, I think that they are going to put that right. And I'm confident about going to Newcastle. I just hope the manager does make the change.
Yeah, just to note just a note on a Maguire. I agree. I think there is definitely an agenda against him, and I don't think us paying 80 million for him last summer, I don't think that'll ever go away. Obviously, price tags stick to players, and I think for me, for that money, obviously he does get compared to Van Dijk. Now, when you spend that money on a player, you expect him to come in and transform the position that they're coming in to address.
Yeah.
Obviously, Liverpool got their star man in Van Dijk, and he changed their whole defensive shape, and he's the reason why they've gone on to win a Premier League trophy. I just think for us, we needed more than one solid centre back. You look down the years, we've not had a consistent partnership for some time now.
No.
Maguire coming in is a solid defender. I know his performances recently, as you say, have not been acceptable. But last season we did have one of the best defensive records in the league. He was a part of that. So he
best defence.
Yeah, he hasn't turned into a bad defender overnight. I think everything that's happened in the summer has rocked his confidence. And as you say, all our players haven't turned up this season so far. But I know I agree. I think he isn't somebody to bring in a younger centre-back alongside him. I think he does need, alongside himself, a top-class defender to help him through games as well. So we'll see whether that happens. I'm sure it'll be on the short list.
Yeah.
So just moving away from transfers then, we know the players that we've got for this season. what's your predictions?
So do you know what? As I said, I think we're going to get better as time goes on. You know, we've got a massive squad, players to choose from. You know, we've got the Carabao Cup. We're still in all competitions. I think Ollie just needs to be smart in players he's playing for specific games. You know, maybe he needs to make changes in cut games and play his strongest team in the Premier League. You know, you look at our squad and there's some real top class players in there, some world class players. You know, so I think we'll achieve top 4. I'm probably going to say 3rd again.
Yeah, optimistic.
3rd this season. Will probably be progression again because of the sides around us strengthening.
Yeah.
3rd this season, given the transfer window that we had, which like I said, I'm content with it, but there were sides who had much better transfer windows than us. If we can maintain that level and finish and achieve 3rd again, I think that is progression on, you know, on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's behalf.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I think if you offered me 3rd right now, I'd slap your hand off for it. Obviously, as you say, other teams around us have strengthened. Chelsea have spent a lot of money. And I know their players haven't technically hit the ground running, but you talk about Havertz and Werner, they've been in the squad now for a couple of weeks. So they were a couple of weeks ahead of our new boys coming in. So that time to gel, they're already on track for it. But yeah, obviously Arsenal are looking stronger. We expect, I think the consensus is Liverpool and City realistically is going to be top 2. They just look a level above everyone else at the minute. So for me, I would expect Champions League qualification again, because as you say, I think the squad is good enough to get that. It's just whether we can quickly turn this around, because obviously losing two games of your first 3 in the league is not ideal. But yeah, for me, Champions League qualification is the expectation. I'm disappointed from the summer because I thought it was all about us getting the right players in and progressing forward. I don't think whether we come 3rd or 4th this season, it could still have been progression from last season, even if we came 4th, if that makes sense, because the gap at the top could definitely come down. But yeah, I think Champions League qualification, I can't really see anyone else expecting more than that. I don't think people are expecting us to challenge for the league. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously Newcastle next. I think that's definitely a must-win game. We don't want any more pressure on us.
Yeah. No, definitely. Newcastle away is always very difficult.
Yeah, it's a sticky one, isn't it?
Not a very nice game. So, you know, they're going to be up for it. They've made some great signings. They've got some great players. So, you know, I think if we can go to Newcastle and get a result, I think that'll be a massive confidence booster for the players, because, you know, they're not a bad team. They have had a pretty good start to the season. If we can go away and get something, you know, even if it's a scruffy 1-0 win away from home, I'll take that.
Yeah, we need 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 points is a must, so we'll speak about that near the time. But I think that wraps about everything up. So cheers for coming on, mate. It's good to have you on.
That's fine, mate. Anytime, you know, you just let me know and we'll sort something out.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you a shout. But yeah, thanks for coming on. I'll leave all the links to Wesley's work down below in the description.
Right,
and yeah, cheers for coming on. I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, no problem. Take care, man.
Thanks.